So then the floor is closed.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have Lucy Carson nominated as chair. Is there a second? Do we have a second?
Yeah, we have a second.
And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So I think, congratulations, first of all. And secondly, I think this is the shortest that anyone's ever done a meeting. It's all to you, thank you.
No, you've been doing a great job. You can continue if you like.
All good.
Okay. Thank you, board members, for your trust in me. I appreciate that very much. We've had a up and down year, and it's gonna go smoother as we continue this process. Thank you for hanging in there with me, supporting me, and asking questions and doing things that you've been asked to do. We've still got a little journey ahead of us, but we're gonna be okay. Things are gonna get better. Okay, now I'm trying to find out where we are. Here.
You have to elect the vice chair.
Yes, vice chair. The floor is now open for vice chair nominee.
I nominate Susan Kimbrough.
Second.
Second. Any other nominees? Hearing none.
I think we have to make a motion that we
Need a motion?
vote for.
Well, he made a motion to nominate her and he seconded it, so yes, you can make it, if you wanna make a motion to accept,
Cause
that's
you
fine.
don't need a second on a nomination.
Correct.
Just nominate and then we vote
Okay.
I make a motion to vote for Susan Kimbrough as the
Sergeant at Arms Corps. Keep us on the Robert's rules. Keep us on the
I'm
Robert's
pretty sure Dr. Martin will die, but I can help it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
All right, so,
so I make a motion that we vote for Susan as the chair, vice chair.
all right,
That's the motion. Second.
Okay.
okay. All in favor?
I guess the other thing is we could have closed the nomination.
Close the nomination. Well, that's what I thought you were doing.
Yeah, that's what we should have done.
But it was something.
All right. Now we have the election of the school board clerk.
I would like to nominate Ms. Stacy Pafford as the school board clerk for the 2025 calendar year.
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
I was going to move that the nomination.
Oh, yeah, move that be closed, go ahead. So we'll do one right.
Move that the nominations be closed.
All right,
That's second.
yeah, and you second. All right, those that, would like Ms. Stacy Hadford to be our clerk of the board, please raise your hand. All right, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next item is the selection of the day, week, hour, place for the school board meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to just ask the board team consideration of a different day of the week other than Wednesday. Maybe consider the first Tuesday of the month or the first Monday of the month. Just a different date on Wednesday. That particular date, there's a lot of activities in the community, church and other types of activities that do occur. It would give the opportunity for all of our stakeholders and community, parents, family members, community, opportunity to come to our board meetings.
Okay.
I'd like to see the board meetings stay on Wednesday, mainly for the sake of Dr. Colbert's schedule. So that
I've booked all, I've just kind of just arranged my
life.
life around Wednesdays for years, and it would be hard for me to rearrange my life at this point. I would be very, very, very challenging for me to do that. Monday and Tuesdays are definitely my worst, busiest days. So I wouldn't have to sacrifice a lot of revenue from my practice and rearrange a lot of my patients in order to reschedule. Mondays and Tuesdays are traditionally doctor's offices are just busy. People expect to get in to see their doctor on a Monday. So it would be just very challenging for me to change to either one of those days, maybe a Thursday or Friday, but certainly not a Monday or Tuesday.
Did you have a particular day in mind, Harvey? I feel like we kind of, every couple of years, kind of like, oh, well, I got,
It wouldn't have
So-
to
so
be a
some
Monday
Mondays-
or a Tuesday, Thursday.
like, I feel like,
I just want the board's consideration as far as be open-minded. If the board wants to choose to continue with Wednesday, you know, I have to follow that because I'm on this board and I'm not gonna miss every month. You know, I do have other obligations during all those other Wednesdays that I attend church. I'm in a choir. That starts at 5 o'clock. Bible study. So there's other pieces of my life that I have to sacrifice for by being on the board. And I'm not complaining, but I'm just looking at potentially there may be others out there that have the same personal schedule, that it wouldn't have to be a Monday, it wouldn't have to be a Tuesday, but if it's a Thursday, I think Friday would be a bad night. So Thursday would be a potential consideration to make sure it stays clear of the city council meetings, the board of supervisor meetings. I think they meet on a Tuesday, a certain Tuesday of the month. So I know we have, what is that? No, go ahead.
Well, I brought this up 3 years ago. Both the time that we were meeting and the day of the week too, because very, very few school boards meet on Wednesdays, and I think it is because traditionally that night had been sort of set aside for church activities. I mean, if you look at every church in this county, everybody has something going on Wednesday nights. Wednesday night dinners, my church has handbell and choir. And so my point of view was not so much for me personally, was that I wanted our meetings to be held at a day and a time where the vast majority of our constituents, our stakeholders, our community members, our parents could come. And I hated to have us meeting on a day that they had to choose if they wanted to come to school board or they wanted to go to Bible study or a Wednesday night dinner at their church. Had to choose between those two. I'm okay with it staying on Wednesday. I am also equally okay to moving it to a different, and I hear you, Dr. Corbett, and so if Monday and Tuesday was totally out for you, I'm certainly open to moving it to a Thursday.
Thursday. I'd rather.
You wanna stay on
You just
Wednesday,
don't have to change anything.
but-
You know, I still would have to make some big changes even if it's on a Thursday. Because Wednesdays I've just blocked totally off, so that
You can do this,
I can do that.
okay. It's okay,
And that's, all of my office staff and everybody is just kind of in that mode of, you know, knowing that I'm not gonna be there on Wednesdays. I mean, I'm just one person, but I think we would all have to rearrange our schedules quite a bit, I think, to change it from Wednesday. I'm a pastor of a church myself, and I like Wednesdays as well, but, you know, that too is something that can be moved, you know, that can be rearranged. The Bible studies, you know, as a pastor of a church, that's what I do. So, but just so that I can do the school board. So, it's not, I am, it just so happens that I am, so.
Any other case?
I'm just gonna motion to approve the calendar as presented, Wednesdays at 4:30.
Is there a motion on the floor? Second.
With the 4:30 on the
We
thing, but
moved it to 4:30, so
We
we
talked
have a
about
little
that
bit
now.
longer time in the closed session, remember?
You agree to that?
we did in December.
December.
We did, we did.
What did we do? Repeat, repeat.
You forgot, we did. I second it,
What do we,
staying Wednesdays, so
Wednesday.
just this.
At 4:30.
4:30. Motion on the floor has been seconded.
Second.
I did.
All in favor of the date of the school board meetings to be on Wednesdays?
Wednesday?
Okay. All in favor of looking into changing the date of the board meetings? Okay. We're gonna put you on, we're gonna get you to do some research. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. We are all, that affects other members on the board as well. Okay, the time, the place for it is regular school board meetings. Can I have a motion to have a place for that, which are here in the,
James Anderson.
yeah,
So moved.
so moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I was just wanting to, before the vote, I was going to just provide some input
sorry,
and just a comment.
Okay,
Just in the future, if our board will consider, whether it's May, December, or when there's large recognitions of students, student groups and teams, to where all of the families that come, we've had this happen this past year, they don't have to wait out in the venue here before another group leaves. If, when we can strategically plan those, if we have a different alternate location to where we can meet, to where we could celebrate. It's all about celebrating our student successes. Saw so many family members, a couple different meetings we had this past year, they would have to leave. Right here, they'd have to leave. It was difficult getting pictures. It was difficult as far as getting handshakes. It would be great for the, not only superintendent, but the board chair, but to have different, have you all in with those pictures too, celebrating with those different student coaches and teachers and the various groups that have come. It's all about celebrating our kids, so just an opportunity to, maybe if it's a couple times a year, just for consideration. And that can be scheduled accordingly ahead of time.
I think that's a great idea too. That so we can have them all there, that would be nice. Can we ask sure, I can ask the superintendent to look into, the acting superintendent to check into that. See if there's another place on campus, when we know we have a bunch of celebrations of, pride and, for the children.
No, is that something that we would, look at having our school board meeting at that location?
Yes, and the
Consequently?
meeting would take place at the same location. Any other comments about that?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
we haven't voted yet, have we?
No, I just asked him to.
No, I just meant in general. I mean, in that case, I mean, do we just wanna explore a bigger location in general? I mean, since we're already talking about it. I mean, at best, we can fit 21-ish people in here besides the 10 of us around the U shape. It'd be less confusing. Or, I mean, cause I like your idea, Harvey, my concern would be like, you can either only recognize them once per year, or twice a year, or nobody's gonna know where to go for the board meeting. And so like, maybe this is just time for us to start considering a bigger location in general. I mean, I'm not saying we decide that now, but if that's the way we wanna go, I feel better just about moving completely. And this just remaining a conference room for small meetings and interviews and things of that nature. We can still do like, student discipline and stuff in this room and finance committee, but then maybe the bigger meeting goes to a different space altogether that can accommodate at all times of the year our student recognitions. I feel better about that. Just less confusing, less clarity, and less like, hey, this week the meeting's gonna be here, next month the meeting's gonna be there.
Okay.
I recommend that we separate it from the school board meeting and invite the whole school once a year or twice a year to celebrate the students. And students appreciate the applause of their comrades than a bunch of old people who are on the school board.
Actually, I disagree with that. I think students love getting to come before the school board. I think that is a big deal, and I disagree with you. I'd like to vote that we initially, for right now, vote to have our meetings here. And then also, at the same time, look to see if there is a larger space for us. Because I do think we've outgrown this space. We want parents to come, we want community members to come. And that is such, I appreciate y'all all sitting there, but that is such a very uninviting area. You're scrunched in, you can't move. And as Mr. Tackett pointed out, many meetings we have 10, 20, 30 people waiting in the halls to come out, to come in to see their kid or their child, their student be recognized. And so I'd like to continue to do the student recognitions in our meetings, because I do think it's a really, kids think it's a big deal to come, and their parents do too. Anyway.
Dr. Carter?
We've actually have fewer people now than we used to have when the school board used to meet. The staff used to be there. We don't have quite as many, we don't have nearly as many actually as we used to have in the meetings. And one thing too is that we are virtual, it's live, it's on the internet, but streamed. So a lot of people are actually watching our meeting at home. So I like the idea of being able to have our school board meetings at the school board office. I do. I appreciate coming to the school board building and having our school board meetings. I think that would be a major change going away from the school board itself and having people come to the school board to be recognized because they came to the school board and they came to where governance occurs. So I think I like leaving our meetings here. But that's my story.
Anyone else? So just ask Dr. Cox to check into a place where you recommend something or look something. I'm only thinking about all the time we wouldn't have the meeting here was it was one of those times when we had a lot of people to celebrate. And then we have to have we have a bigger space. That's all. That's what all my thought was. But normally we would have the meetings here in the same place. Questions, comments? So I'm just gonna ask you to look into that and bring back some information for us. Is that the board? All right.
Start the vote though, I don't think it's a motion to second.
Who made a motion?
Is there a motion?
We did, we have a motion, I seconded it, it's motion and second.
This is a discussion from the.
We were discussing.
Yeah.
It's not-
Oh, we were gonna,
Mr. Tackett.
We were just discussing, so there was a
Let's have
motion.
it.
And I apologize for interrupting the motion. Normally, after a motion and a second, you have that moment to, if you want to kind of jump in and mention something, I'll try.
Did the vote carry?
what confusing?
It
What
did,
were
it
we-
carried, yes,
What
sir.
was the motion?
Stay here, stay here.
Stay here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All in favor of staying here?
It was already voted on.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
We did.
motion, seconded, and voted on.
Okay, and then, all right.
Yeah.
This is not my first year, is it? Okay. So we're straight with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to authorization of deputy clerk. Do you want to read that?
Superintendent representative.
The deputy clerk?
Currently,
You
it's
usually
Ms.
get a
Jones.
recommendation from the superintendent.
All right. Ms. Jones is the deputy clerk.
So we just moved to authorize?
We have
We just moved to authorize her to be the deputy clerk.
I moved to authorize Ms. Jones to be the deputy clerk.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. to approval of the procedure for calling special meetings. We have a procedure for calling special meetings, and we've been using them. And we need to continue that process. Do we
have to
what do
vote
you
on
say?
that.
Talk to me.
You just continue that process.
We
Yes.
just continue the process of the way what we've been doing.
Yes.
Okay.
I move we continue as normal.
As normal?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Do you need to vote on that, or you just?
Yes, that's,
No, because we voted on it. It's already been voted on. Right?
I mean,
It
we've
was
been
in
using.
1977, it got voted
Oh,
on.
yeah,
Oh. What's it say?
I remember.
It says action item.
It got voted on in
that's a policy,
1977.
are we,
It said up here in action item.
I think in order to change that, you would have to change your
Just-
codes and procedures, so
Yes,
that
it
would
would
be
have
two
to be
readings.
a
Yes,
governance.
that's one of those, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so
Okay.
we're gonna follow the process that we've been following. with
Yes.
Calling for special meetings, okay? I'm going to G. Now, appointments by the chair on committees. We have the Student Affairs Committee, it's made up of Ms. Smith, Mr. Farley, and Ms. Kimbrough. And your purpose is to preside over all the class cases of student suspension of more than 10 days to expulsion. There you go. You okay, everybody on that committee, like to change, come off the committee, or not, enjoying your time on that committee?
Know that you can call it enjoyment.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I'd like to come off of that committee.
Ms. Stubbs, she wants to come off of the student affairs.
I'm fine.
Hmm?
I'm fine on it.
You're fine?
I'll stay on it.
You on? All right, is there anybody who would like to serve on that committee? All right, so right now it's just Ms. Stiff and Mr. Farley. Mr. Thomas?
Not Miss Stiff, she wanted to
No.
go
No,
first.
not
Ms.
Ms. Stiff, Ms. Kimbrough. No,
And it requires 3, correct?
yeah,
It does.
yeah, it does require
And it's
three.
it's every other week.
No, it has you listed on there as well, Ms. Carson.
I'm the alternate, I guess if nobody takes it, then I'll do it. And I shouldn't have said that.
Appointed yourself.
I didn't say that. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but,
Well, I could become an alternate.
okay. Did you do the alternate and
Yeah.
then, okay.
Right.
And you're gonna be our
I'll-
third member?
Pardon me?
You're gonna be our third member. We meet tomorrow.
I can't. Would someone else like to do that?
10 o'clock.
You'll do tomorrow?
Okay.
Because we've already
We
planned.
got it.
10 o'clock tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna be here. All right, so thank you, Lucy, you just put yourself on that committee, thank you. So you have the members of that committee now?
Yes, ma'am, it would be Farley, Kimbrough, and you, and then Ms. Stiff would be the alternate. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, the finance committee, well, we got to vote on them separately? Or can we just-
You can get them all and just vote on them at one
All
time
the
if everybody's
okay,
good with
let's-
that.
Let's do that. All right, the finance committee. On that committee is Dr. Ariady, Mr. Tackett, I'm sorry, and Ms. Stiff. And I also attend that committee, even though my name's not on there, but that's okay.
I'll stay.
You'll stay?
I'll stay.
You
I'll
stay?
stay.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right,
Excuse me,
Representative-
Ms.
yes.
Carson, I am so sorry. Just remember, you as the chair should be on that committee.
I don't know. Yes, I will stay. I will stay on that committee. Thank you for reminding me, I appreciate that. Okay. Representative to the Government School for Global Economics and Technology, joint
actually,
board.
I'm stepping off of that.
You're stepping off?
You're stepping
I'll
off?
do it again. I'll do it again.
Okay.
I don't mind. Unless Kanan, you want to.
I was gonna say, I could be backup if you,
Oh, no, you wanna do it?
I mean, I'd be glad, I mean,
It meets quarterly.
yeah, I can
Okay,
swing
let
that.
Kanan do it.
All right, well, Okay, thank you.
Something we can work.
Okay, Dr. Cook.
Meetings are fun.
Dr. Cook stepping off there and
Sitting on the
Kaylin
way.
is doing it.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
far, it's a nice little track.
The VSBA delegate. It's
I don't mind doing that. It's easy.
good. Dr. Corbin's gonna be the delegate. I'll be there too, at least for this coming year. And that's,
But anybody else could do it.
anybody else would like to be the VSBA delegate? I have a little booklet of all of the rules and
So
regulations.
have you listed as the alternate, are you gonna actually be full-time, or are you gonna
Yeah,
remain
you
as
can
alternate? I
have.
just wanna make sure I document it correctly.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and do it if she did.
Is Mr. Dr. Colbert doing it?
Yes, he's gonna do, you
So
said
he's gonna do
delegate.
it full-time, cause he's previously listed as an alternate, I just wanna make sure we have it documented correctly.
Yeah, because last year you were it, but then you were.
Then I had to move,
Yeah, you went.
Okay,
okay?
got it.
And the school board policy committee.
Mr. Tackett's not on that committee. I mean, he can join if he
Would
wants
you
to.
like to be on that committee?
You need to say.
Okay.
It's me, you and Susan.
No,
It's
there's
just
only
the three of
three on-
us.
There's only three on there.
I mean, as long as
There's
Mr.
three-
Stiff,
There's
you
three
wanna
on
stay
there, I
on
think
it?
my
You wanna
name
stay
got
on that one?
accidentally put on there.
Ms. Stiff, you stay on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good staying.
That would be.
You three are staying on there, so.
And you can zoom.
I'm good.
Reason.
All right, any questions about the members of these committees and duties and responsibilities? Hearing none, I have a motion.
Motion to approve, committee appointments as presented.
I have a second.
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor? All right. And we'll go to H, where we're empowering the student affairs committee to act on behalf of the school board in discipline referrals.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I guess, yes.
I move that we empower the Student Affairs Committee to act on behalf of the school board to hear discipline referrals.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, I designate a person to attend the school board meetings in the absence of the superintendent.
Who is it?
Who
That
is
would
it?
be, that still comes from the superintendent.
Who is it?
What's
Superintendent.
your recommend, who is that?
I say
Mr. Good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All in favor,
We
motion,
have a motion.
go ahead.
I move that we,
What
Mr.
about
Good,
Mr. Motion, we have a motion, yeah.
we do already have it?
No.
No.
I move that Mr. Good be designated to attend school board meetings in the absence of the superintendent.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Okay. Authorization, J, authorization for the superintendent to assign, reassign administrators and instructional personnel.
I move that we authorize the superintendent to reassign instructional personnel in accordance with the needs of the school division.
Second.
Second, all in favor? All right. And, okay, authorization for the superintendent to pay the debt service.
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize superintendent to pay out the debt service.
All right,
Second.
second, all in favor? And L, adoption of the most recent version of Robert's Rules of Order. We just killed him.
I'd like to make
Go
a
ahead, Saul.
motion that we accept the Robert's Rules of Order, with the exception of allowing our chair to vote.
Okay, so you that one?
Repeat that, please.
Say that
Got
again.
it, got it.
You did?
And Robert's rules of chair can't vote, got it.
Right.
Yeah, he's right.
I like,
He's right.
Okay, say it again.
I like, you got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Make, we accept the Robert's Rule, except we allow our chair
Separation
to
vote.
vote.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, there's a second. All in favor? All right.
Are you in favor?
I'm abstaining
You're abstaining.
because I couldn't understand the last words that he said.
I can make it clearer for you if you want.
What is the exception?
So the exception is that, the chair would be able to vote. In Robert's rule, the chair is not allowed to vote, but in our practice, the chair normally votes.
I vote for it then.
Okay, so all in favor, got it.
Thank you. All right, we're down to 13, consent agenda. Any questions about the consent agenda?
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Any seconded? All in favor? All right. Action items. Ms. Jones.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carson, school chair, board members, and Dr. Cox. This evening, I come before you seeking approval to submit local additional appropriations before the Board of Supervisors in the total amount of $29,985.12, which consists of a security grant of $17,985.12, which the division does have to make a local match of that, a 25% local match, which will equate to $4,496.28. And we're also seeking approval for a early childhood provisional license grant, which is new for $12,000.
Do you know what's the new grant about?
It's for, hold on, I can tell you.
Okay.
I have a little snippet in here. It looks like it's to support early childhood provisional licensed teachers who are actively engaged in coursework for expenses they may have.
To become licensed.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that's good.
That's real good.
All right.
And I believe it's one individual, if I'm not mistaken.
I move that we approve these additional appropriations.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Garrett? The SIG grant consultants, and Ms. Garrett here is gonna talk to us about the SIG grant. So we can help. Yeah, we can do C until she comes. Let's go to C, and then we'll come back to B. Don't let me forget to come back to B.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right? So,
Okay, these are the 5 policies that we looked at in December. Most of them are just very small changes, cross-references, that type thing. The BDD and BDDL, we had voted on those earlier in the year. VSBA sent those back to us. There's no change in it at all, except that we have to vote on these now annually. So if we vote on this and approve this tonight, that we allow folks to participate remotely, either for committee meetings or for our school board meetings, then in our January meeting of next year, we will need to bring that back for another vote. That's the only change on those 2. So I'd entertain a motion that we approve these 3 policies as we present. Yes.
I have a question about, I wasn't,
Which one?
BDDL, it
Yes.
says optional, that's not the one we chose, or is that what?
We did choose it. It is optional. We don't have to have it. But we did approve that back several months ago, that we would allow school board members to participate in committee meetings remotely.
Okay,
And we also allowed them to do that.
okay,
If you remember, we started allowing them to do it for
okay.
school board members. And the difference is they now can vote. We vote at the beginning of the meeting to allow them, and if we say yes, then they can be a voting member. Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve policies as presented.
Second.
Second? All in favor? Thank you. Now we'll go back to B, Chair, SIG grant.
Madam Chair, Dr. Cox, members of the school board, I'm here to discuss with you actually two grants that were just approved for the school that we're excited about. The first one is one we've had in the past, the SIG grant, and it's a school improvement grant, and this is solely for our middle school. Our middle school is classified as a comprehensive support improvement school, and we do know that the middle school is a school we're gonna put a lot of support in moving forward this year. And so with that grant, we have professional development for teachers, we have coaching and support, and that is where we are looking at partnerships with CTLG, which is a company we had used in the past. The teachers had requested this support again. They really, really appreciated the work that they had from that team. And we're also partnering with TNTP, which is a professional development company that actually VDOE used to help train teachers on the new standards this summer. And so that was a suggestion that we received, and so we are going to partner with them for literacy. And then math and science will be through CTLG, and they will be working with the middle school. For the next grant that we received is,
Ms. Gary, can I ask a question about
Sure.
that grant? How long is the grant, just for?
so that's a good question. First of all, the grant was $174,704, and it is, we have to use it up by September, this September.
September,
Yes,
okay.
I said the same thing. So this is a quick moving turnaround for this grant, so it was just approved, and then we're supposed to spend those funds by September 2025. Yes.
And it can only be spent on
Very
specific things, like,
So we had to write an improvement plan for the middle school.
okay.
We had to pick an evidence-based intervention, then everything that we tie this
Spend it.
funding to has to go directly to the evidence-based intervention.
Okay,
So it's a very specific process.
okay,
So we write the plan first, then once we determine the needs, we determine how the money would be spent. And so all of that, it's been a process, it was all approved, our plans were approved, and then we were awarded the grant.
is the vast majority of the money being spent on these two firms? that they're
So the
doing?
vast majority of the money is being spent on the consulting firms, but also paying teachers for time that they will spend in professional development.
Okay, good.
So we tried to make sure we put some money in there for that as well. So if these consultants stay and provide professional development for the teachers, they will be given money for that
Okay.
support.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We didn't put any money for supplies, because we have
Plenty of that.
plenty of that.
Okay.
Any other questions about the SIG grant? So the other grant that we have is, and we were really excited to get this grant. It's Prince Edward Middle School and Prince Edward High School were awarded the Students with Disability Literacy Network Grant. And so we received $30,000 per school, but we got this grant over 400 applicants statewide.
Wow.
So only 30 schools were selected. So Ms. McClure did a great job making sure that everything was in place and that this grant met the requirements that we wrote for this. This actually is mainly training. So it has 2 in-person days for teams of 6 per school. So it's going to train principals, teachers, support staff, and it's not just training special education teachers. So the goal of this grant is to make sure we're training everybody, because special education students are all students. So we want to make sure that we are not pigeonholing students and that we're making sure everybody is trained in the strategies that we're using, because they will meet all students' needs. So the money will be on in-person training, virtual training, technical assistance and resources, so them to support us and come out and help us, and then division leader training. So that covers that grant. Any questions about that grant?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to 15 non-action items, we don't have any other information. You did? Okay, you did.
Did we vote on it? Did I miss it?
Oh, no, thank you for getting
What do we
on.
need to vote on?
Was an action, I didn't know either.
The grants?
The grant, do we need to vote on that?
You're voting for the consultants, right?
I'm sorry.
Don't we need to vote on the SIG grant,
Grant.
consultants?
If you'd like to, you can, you can
It's
vote
up
on
to you.
those.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
We said to y'all that we would bring consultants to y'all, and so whatever the
Think we
pleasure of
should
the board is.
And actually-
We just wanted you to know.
Okay.
Is there any more information that you wanna know about the consultants?
Do you?
I have a quick question. The first one that you mentioned that you said the teachers had asked for, had they worked with us before?
Yes,
And then they weren't working with us and now they're back because the teachers like them so much. Is that?
that is correct.
That's
We
what
had
I-
them last year.
Yes, okay, I know. Okay,
And we used unfinished learning
right,
to help pay for them.
right.
So we did not have that at the beginning of this year, so we did not continue with them due to the
Now we
funding.
do.
But now that we do have funding that can support, we are able to continue with them.
Okay. Question.
Mhm.
What did their evaluation look like last year?
So it's hard to say what their evaluation will look like because it depends on what each of them are working on. So what they did last year was really work solely with the teachers in the classrooms. And we did not have them on a consistent basis, so they were coming once a month. So when they're here once a month, there's really not a whole lot of impact for that. Now for the math, we're gonna have him once a week. So there's a lot more time that he'll be in the building. You're gonna see more impact with that. And he is gonna be working with the administrators as well, so that when he's not here, he's training them on what he's doing with the teachers so that they can follow up with those strategies. And that was because what we noticed in the past was that when he wasn't in the building, we needed that to carry through from last year. So that's why he has continued to have the administrators be a bigger part of the process with him. With them, actually, for both of them.
And I hear you. But I still have questions.
Okay,
And I'm gonna pause here. But I'll be back.
okay.
Because I don't feel like we collected data to say, bring them back. We are sure they can do the job. I have questions. I'll just leave it there.
So what I will say is part of the process of doing a SIG grant is you have to do a needs assessment. So you have to look at specific data, and we have to actually go as far as to go down to strand detail data from the student performance. So he is getting specific data to say exactly where the students aren't performing in math, and this grant is written specific. So for our students, it's mathematical problem solving. So that was not, he was not part of the SIG grant before. So it was much broader work that he did. The scope of work he's doing now is extremely specific, targeted, and we will have better data because he's given an exact strand that he's working with them on. So we're gonna be able to assess those students on that specific strand and see, are they performing better on mathematical problem solving after working with our consultant. So I think we'll be able to have better data than we did previously.
Any other questions, clarifications? All right.
Is the two consultants?
It's it's science and math are for CTLG, and then our literacy consultant is the TNTP.
And what, and can you break down how much we're paying each one of those
I can.
consultants?
I can. So for our math, because he will be here every week, his total is gonna be, oops, this is science. His total is gonna be 56,000 over the time.
Okay,
For science, he's not coming every week because our needs are not, though they are high, we need more support in math. He's gonna be 32,000, he'll be every other week. And for the other group, TNTP, their support's a little different. They work a lot more with the principal and the teachers in providing professional development. They only come on campus, I think every month, and I believe they are 64,744. And it is costly, but we do have the funds in the SIG grant, and it does align to the evidence-based interventions.
And we picked the literacy firm, something to do with VDOE?
Well, we picked this literacy firm because they are specific in training teachers how to use high-quality instructional materials in alignment with the Virginia standards,
Okay.
which is a need that we have. Because due to the Virginia Literacy Act, we're required to use the high-quality instructional materials, and trying to match a material with a state standard it's challenging. So we're trying to provide our teachers support on that avenue. And this group is based in doing that for schools. And they actually know for the middle school, the actual program we use is one they've been trained on.
Okay.
So for us, this seemed like the best way to go. But VDOE has used them as well.
Okay.
So we felt like it was a win-win.
Thank
But
you.
I have not used them in the past, so we really don't have data to know how that's gonna go.
Thank you.
Motion to approve consultants
Yes.
as presented by Ms. Garrett.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Ms. Smith, did you vote in favor?
Yes.
All right, we're on 16, superintendent search update. We had a meeting earlier this afternoon with VSBA. We had a site that we could see all the candidates who had put in applications for the position. There were 36 inquiries and there were 24 full applications. 5 of the people who applied were current or former superintendents. 7 were assistant or associate or deputy superintendent. 6 were central office administrators. 2 were principals. 4 were others, like professor from a university, something like that. There were 12 men, 12 women. 24 were Virginia applicants. 22 were Virginia applicants and 2 out-of-state applicants. 1 from Indiana, 1 from Wisconsin. We looked at applications and discussed looking for the qualifications as a board we came up with. We wanted the candidate to have, and discussed it with the board. We discussed it, and VSBA walked us through this thing of looking at the board carefully and offered us suggestions for questions when we are ready to do interviews, and some tips on how to interview so that everybody's getting the same questions and things of that nature. We're not shorting anybody by not asking them this question, and we asked the other people that same question. It is still the process, and we went through, each of us had to go through all of the 24 applications, everything on them, and then VSBA did some more work, a little deeper dive into the person that brought that information to us that we used to help determine who we wanted to interview. Now the processes will continue. We will set up dates we will contact interview candidates, and we've got a working date of calendar for when we're going to start the interviewing of the candidates. But there's some stipulations that we have to follow in this process. So I think we came out of the meeting today feeling
Very good.
feeling good.
Yeah, I do.
Board members, we were still in here trying to make calendar of when we're going to interview people. But we have to talk to them too. But we feel good. We spent our holiday going through applications. I don't know about you, but I did it myself. And going back over them to be sure to have what we needed. So again, the process is going, we will notify the public, we have to notify the public when we're going to do interviews. And on the 31st of January, we will let them know when we will start interviewing. And since you guys were at the board meeting, was there anything I left out that you think we should say? You don't have to say anything. But know that we felt good about when I opened the thing up on, we couldn't get into the app that had all the information in it until
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. So we're sitting there trying to get in, and you get in and you can see the pop up and go, oh, I went, we were excited. I was excited.
We were
excited.
too.
And we got some, we
Very
felt like we got
outstanding.
some outstanding candidates.
Yes.
We got some outstanding ones. And we're gonna try our best to pick the best one that we feel that will work with us here at Prince Edward County. But thank you, board members, for all your help and your help today as we went through this process. And it's gonna be something we can almost see, maybe not the end yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Just wanted to let you know those things. We're not hiding anything from you, yes, but we're not. All right? Elementary school construction.
It's mostly here. Are they here?
They're not here.
They're not here?
Okay.
I think there was something there.
There's
There's
a
an
They
There's
an
have some
attachment.
information, attachment.
Executive
Yeah.
content.
You wanna read that? No. Do you want to? There's I don't know, any of you want, there's some information that Mosley did send us, December 2024 updates, and demolition of the electrical and the building permits received, waiting on HVAC and plumbing permits. No major changes expected now, and end of the school year in regards to phasing. You got it, you wanna read it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Go ahead.
So this is a report from Mosley. Fencing adjustment to encapsulate old playground. Parents will need to be notified of the new layout by the school. Abatement and demolition of buildings, E&F ongoing, removing slab and hauling materials underway. That was an amazing process to watch, by the way. Cut and cap border lines to sides of elementary school buildings, E&F. Plumber has done investigation and potholing. 2-week look ahead, finish demo and begin grading of site. Electrical to begin miscellaneous work. Continuing work on water lines, and then finalize amendments for testing and monitoring. Site visits and meeting, instructions to contractors shall be directed through the construction contract. Architects will visit the site twice a month and as needed, generally each month in conjunction with monthly progress meetings, which are actually held here, and they've been very instructive. Monthly progress meetings will be used to review and correct approved minutes of previous progress meeting. So what you have is you have Mosley, who is the architect, but you also have English, who's the construction company, and they really seem to work very well together. And then we have another progress meeting on the 21st of January 2025.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, Fulcrum counselors, folks.
Madam Chair and Dr. Cox and the rest of the school board, thank you for letting us come. I was here alone 6 months ago, maybe, something like that, and gave a little review. This is Wesley Inge here and Ben Hackney. You're looking at the three of us that own the company. We're, if I didn't say so before, we're a small, locally owned company. We try to stay small. We try to hire locally. So we're based right here, in Prince Edward County. I say again, I've said it before, we're very impressed with the fact that it was Prince Edward County Schools that sort of took the risk, if you call it that, on us about 4 years ago or so at this point. We certainly had worked other programs with bigger companies previously, TDT programs, if you're familiar with those, and they were certainly ones we ran here in Prince Edward Schools as well as about 7 other surrounding counties. This was a different take on things, and I won't bore you with all that other than to say, this is much more similar to outpatient counseling based in the schools themselves than what the Medicaid-based TDT program was. That could be a very great program. The best part for school systems, as you may be aware, was that it was Medicaid funded, meaning it didn't cost you guys anything. There were certainly downsides to that for the fact that only Medicaid eligible kids could have the service, and then as the service went on, it became more and more and more difficult even for those Medicaid eligible students to qualify for the program. So it went from a program that was pretty open, broad-based, and schools really loved us to the point that it wasn't so great for the schools. We were having to jump around and pull kids, and we became sort of the owners. Our concept here 4 or so years ago was to give the school as much control as we possibly could, and that's still how it works today. Your school system can refer any kid for any reason. It's not insurance based. It's not reimbursed by Medicaid or other third-party payers. It's just a flat rate that you guys pay us, and we make the commitment to see as many kids as we possibly can. Obviously, we are not miracle workers in terms of being able to have endless caseloads. But if you already have that chart, that gives you a little bit of what we send to the superintendent and to Amy McClure. We send more specific things to each school at the end of each month. But this gives you an idea of the number of kids. So, if you look at December down at the bottom, division totals, we're serving about 152 kids. That's primarily done by our 3 full-time counselors. Now, somebody may say, how can you manage that? That's because we're able to triage, and we do that all the time. So that means some kids on our caseloads are only seen sort of as needed. Some are seen weekly, some may be seen more than weekly, but we're able to tailor it. We try to respect the instructional time of the school. That's primarily why these students are coming here to school, is for instructional time, not for mental health services. But we've learned over time that if we can mesh those two together, it makes quite a difference. We think it's been wildly successful. The sad part is so many kids are in such need these days. We work with some very serious situations in all 3 of your schools right now. We also coordinate with outpatient counselors. We're not a be-all, end-all, because some situations are true mental health diagnosed kids that need consistency year-round. So whether school's in, school's out, summer, anything. So we work with local providers also to sort of coordinate those services. I was saying, we were so impressed that Prince Edward took us up on the offer as sort of the pilot. I'm a lifelong Prince Edward County resident, and it means a lot to me that this is where we started. We are running the same program currently in Cumberland, Nottoway, and Lunenburg, but it started here. And you've got, we've got a full-time licensed eligible person, 1 licensed person at each of your 3 schools. And then we have a roving part-time counselor who works. He worked 1 day a week at each of the schools this last semester, but now because of the caseloads, we're gonna change that a little bit and have him work 1 day at the middle school and then 2 days with our full-time person at the high school, because the high school need just continues to explode. Not to say the others don't too, but that's just sort of how we're doing things. Amy McClure gave me this little blurb when I walked in. I was gonna talk about, the downside of this. The hard part for us is there has not been any consistency from the state about this grant. It seems like each year we're having to wonder if we're gonna be able to provide the service again. And as you can imagine, that's very difficult when you've got some really high quality counselors that could go somewhere else and get a full-time job doing something that's a bit more secure than this. We've been very fortunate to hold on to folks that are very high quality. Some of you, I think, know some of these people. As I said, local people that choose to stay with us, and we're very appreciative for that. But she gave me this, which says that she just found out today that the governor's proposed budget, and we know there's a long ways between a proposed budget and what happens, but it does provide $15 million in this same pilot program, as they're calling it, for school-based mental health. Our hope is that it pushes along, that politics is not an issue for this type program, that no matter what side of the aisle somebody sits on or anything else, that people recognize the extreme need for mental health services with our students today. With that said, we always say the more calls we can make to delegates, to people, in the state government, the better in terms of sustainability of the program. It would be great if something got earmarked through DOE or somewhere that didn't give us this, because then that gives us the ability to give more of a guarantee to our people and to keep things going. Consistency is such a big deal with these kids. You guys know that from the teacher situation. But it also is true for our services, that if we can keep generally the same counselors in place, it just makes things so much better as we work year to year to year. It is, in our opinion, the best of all the worlds, except for the monetary side of it, the financial uncertainty. I think this program is about as good as you're going to get in terms of a setup for counselors in the schools. Our people are full-time with you. I mean, they are, our full-time people are here when kids are getting off the bus, and they leave after the kids are back on the bus. So it's not a situation. Some counties are dealing with situations where on Tuesdays you get, 3 hours at a middle school or something like that. There again, people take what they can get, but the need is clearly here. So I just appreciate the fact that you guys are supportive of this, and that we hope it can continue on into the future. I just wonder if you've got questions or.
I have one quick question. How current funding, how long is that good to? I know we were worried about the grant coming through earlier, like in the late summer.
The current funding is it's an interesting answer, because on paper, the last amount of money that came through is good on paper through September 30th of 2025.
Okay.
I'm not too sure where they came up with that, because that means that amount of money, and I can't remember off the top of my head, Amy would know for each of the schools, but that money does have to be spent by September 30th of 2025, or it's gone. But where schools are, and Prince Edward is in the same boat, is you're trying to figure out, do you try to nickel and dime the system to get to September with no guarantee at this point, at least, that it goes beyond it? We believe it will go beyond it.
But you don't know.
But we don't, clearly we don't know that. Stuff like this gives us hope when you see that it's still in the governor's budget and it's still being talked about. But my advice back to all of the schools has been, it probably makes more sense to focus on through your summer school as using this money and the hopes that, because it's gonna be hard. If we knew it was ending totally, then I probably don't, I've told Amy, I'm not gonna end up with 3 full-time counselors that are gonna come back and work August and September if they knew it was ending.
Right.
I'm hoping that before we get to April of this year, we know something better about that funding, but that's just my wishful thinking, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And Mr. Folks, I just wanted to say, we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thanks a lot, thanks for meeting with me, I really appreciate that.
Meeting with you and your persistence, we really appreciate.
Oh, thanks.
Dr. Floyd?
How do you get your, are they, most of the students referred to you by teachers, or are they in crisis situations, or are they coming?
Most of them are referred from the school system, so each school maybe
parents
does
ever?
it could be a parent referral. It depends whether the parent is aware of this, the program within the schools. Most of them, the way the setup goes officially is the school gives us the referral. They are the ones that have opened the door by saying to a parent or guardian, here's this program, we think your child would be well served, are you open to that? 99.9% of the time, the answer is yes. So then the school has the permission, then we take over and we contact the family and get our own consents and releases and, all that ball of wax stuff done. And then, but it can be done real fast. I mean, so it could be that a school counselor gives us a referral in the morning and we could be seeing the kid that afternoon if somebody's got email and can do the,
Do we have any measurable outcomes or anything?
Well, do you want to talk to that, Leslie, a little bit about some of the things we've come up with in terms of?
We do some, it's not official, I would say, but we do a pre-test and a post-test on the students. We get the, either teacher or the school counselor to kind of rate the students on a bunch of different scales of behavior, emotional, functioning, things like that, before we start services, and then at the end of the school year. We've got some of that data from last year, and we're collecting it this year as well. It's a little bit anecdotal, but it does show a little bit, you can see kind of where they were at the beginning of the year and where they were at the end of the year. That shows some progress. We haven't dug down into specific, discipline reports, things like that, to be able to chart that type of
They
information.
usually do show progress?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And a number of them graduate, or, services will terminate during the school year if things are really that much better. We try really hard not to become a crutch. However, sometimes that's almost what the student needs in some way. Some of these elementary kids, it's oh my gosh, it's rough to not be their confidant and their go-to person. It seems like in the schools certainly are very supportive of that. We don't work on a diagnostic. We don't have to work diagnostically officially because we don't bill insurance or Medicaid or anything. We may work from a diagnostic perspective as counselors, knowing that we're dealing with major depression or we're dealing with an anxiety disorder or something like that. But our approach as a company is that kids have enough labels already, so we're really trying to work more holistically with the student and with the parents and anyone involved to not see their child as a diagnosis as much as let's get through this and get better sort of thing, just generally speaking.
You don't have the authority to prescribe medication.
No.
But you would refer children to a professional.
Yeah, we would,
If you
well,
saw
we work close with Crossroads, we work close with other, it's hard to find psychiatrists obviously in this area, but we refer out and trust that a parent or guardian, that's the problem, as you're well aware, is transportation and things like that. I mean, I think most families really care, but sometimes on the other end, it looks like they don't if they're not getting kids to appointments and things, but yes, no, we don't deal in medication at all. So.
I just want to commend the school board, even before I came on board, the support towards this type of program, because of just thinking that mental health issue, piece, and thinking about improved self-esteem for our students and our staff, because this is impacting our staff too. But the students, right, intensely, and seeing these numbers definitely supports that it's being worthwhile. So hats off again to the board before I came on board. Now that I'm on board, love to see it continue. I know funding is always an issue, but this is the type of program that we need to find the funding for.
Absolutely.
This is one of those pieces that we gotta continue. And if I'm a parent, of course, I do have a family member in the school system, so it is very appreciative to know that we have this type of support in addition to our regular counselors, but because this is not happening everywhere. And this is one of those pieces of the puzzle that we're going above and beyond as a division.
Okay.
So,
You're exactly right. It's hard. It's some school systems, it's very hard to convince them. They know what the problems are. They know what they're facing. The teachers are well aware, as well as everybody else in the school. But sometimes it's very hard to get over that hump of trying this. TDT was a pervasive program in the state, for many years. And like I said, it was great for a school system because you weren't paying. You were giving us a space, and that was all we were really asking. This is obviously a much greater commitment because it's got to be funded somehow or another. But some schools, it's just, we've tried other places, it's really hard to get in. Again, that's why I'm so appreciative that we're in your backyard or you're in ours or however you want to look at it, but that it's working here, and I think it's a great thing that you guys are supporting.
Well, we thank you and the work that you do with our children, especially in this day and age. Mental health is a very important aspect.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for all
Great.
you do.
Thank y'all.
All right.
thanks for your time.
Take care.
All right, for that D, did we just hear something? Ms. Garrett, did you have
I
another?
think that's the same thing that
I
I
think
did.
it's
That
the same
is the
thing as
same
what we
thing.
just went over.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. You don't wanna do it again, do you? All right, we're gonna go on to E. Phone policy,
Is that me?
that you?
I think we briefly discussed in December the cell phone policy. Dr. Cox and I and Mrs. Carson discussed our current cell phone policy, which is listed with our attorney 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she agreed that the directive given by the governor is an executive order. It's not a law. It's recommended, and our policy actually goes along with what the governor has recommended. We prohibit cell phones throughout the day, except we do allow them currently to be used in the classroom. And it's in the cafeteria. It's the policy committee's report that at this time, we leave our cell phone policy as it is now, with asking Dr. Cox because we all know that the current cell phone policy is not being enforced across the board the way that it should be. And so we've asked him to get with the principals, but mostly get with the teachers, because quite frankly, they are the ones that have to enforce this across the board, and see if the teachers can come up with solutions of how, because it's our feeling that if it is a teacher-led initiative of how to enforce the current policy the way it is, then it'd be more likely to succeed. There may come a time that the state legislature actually passes a law that requires us to ban them bell to bell and no more cell phones in the schools at all. But until that point, it's our feeling that our current cell phone policy as is certainly strict if it has been adhered to the way it is written. And so it's the recommendation that we don't have to vote on it, we're just gonna leave it the way it is. Just wanted to let y'all know.
I have a
Sure.
comment.
Okay.
Question, comment, whatever. I read this policy twice. I don't see the kind of deterrence in this policy that would make a student respect it. If I know that I am going to get a warning on my first offense, and a second warning on my second offense, and a third warning, maybe my phone is going to be taken, what's going to encourage me to respect the policy? Is this the policy as a code of conduct policy, or is this the policy that the board has created and the board is expected to approve? What is this?
This is a code of conduct policy that the school board approved. And the first offense actually is that the administration comes and gets the phone the first time. First offense under cell phone rule. The device will be held in the administration office until the end of the school day. Students can pick up their phones following a behavioral contract.
That's the first?
That's the first. Second one is that they establish parent contact and the device is held until the parent picks it up. And the third one is the device remains in the main office until the end of the week.
And what makes those offenses so got me shaking in my boots? I don't think we have done enough to help students to understand that they need to respect this. If our intent is to make the environment safer, I don't think we are saying enough here. Now, what more could be said and done, that's a thought to ponder. But as we see often with, our students may be involved in this, that, and the other, a lot to some degree of what they're involved with is transmitted and conducted through these cell phones.
I agree.
And I don't know, I just have a problem with it.
Well, I think two things are happening. As I said, I think we have some teachers who do not allow cell phones in their classrooms. And at the end, they have a method of either making them put them up someplace at the front of their classrooms. They can't go to the bathroom with their cell phones. And then we have some teachers who are the cool teachers and don't care. And that's an issue. If it's not being enforced by our teachers across the board, then it gets out of hand. And then you've got the issue, they're not supposed to be used in the halls. But who's going to police that and how is that going to be policed? Which is why I asked Dr. Cox will you speak to that, Dr. Cox?
So I just say, I think that's part of working with principals and
Yes.
teachers to talk about the consistency that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think probably what we could do is we could bring that back to the board. Here's what we found, here's how we think we can move forward with this. Which I don't know, maybe you've done that before.
No,
but
we
I
have
don't
not.
think you have. So I'm happy to take on that role and work with all of them to see if we can come back to a point where we think it's sustainable with what we're saying.
Because, Ms. Tiff, if we say no cell phones in the building, we're still going to have the issue of kids bringing the cell phones in the building, you know?
don't
Even
think
when
we're
we
gonna-
ban them, but, and I agree with you, I saw though, that legislation has been introduced that limits what punishment we can give to children for cell phone violations, and so, I don't,
So
to
we
say
really
we make
will
the
be
punishment
starting.
harsher, I'm not sure that, it's just an enforcement issue, and I don't know how we do that, and that's why I'm asking for help.
Right, I think we have not gotten much further than where we were. Some jurisdictions have taken a harder line approach, and not saying that everything needs to be punitive, no, that's not where I'm coming from. But at the same time, students need to have a message that the use of cell phones outside of the rule is unacceptable, and harsher, maybe penalties will be taken. What that might look like, I don't know.
So maybe we might have a better chance of seeing what that will look like after we do this work.
Yes.
If I may just add, perhaps we're looking at this, we should be looking at this as a collaborative effort instead of a teacher-enforced effort.
Yes. Yes.
The administration should be involved
Yes.
as much as the teacher.
Yes, I agree.
When he comes in the front door, just like a gun or drugs or anything else, is where it should start. It shouldn't start in the classroom. It should start at the front door. And the administrator should be as involved as the teacher. The custodian, if he sees it, should be as involved as the teacher. The teacher is there primarily to teach, not to enforce a cell phone policy, not to enforce a drug policy, or
Dress code.
any other policy. She is there to convey instruction. So let's let her or him do that job. And maybe that person will stay and not look for something else.
Good, very good point, Mr. Farley.
I think
Okay?
it can be very collaborative in nature, I really do, I agree.
Yeah, so, maybe we do need to collaborate more than what we've done.
Yes. And support.
Yes.
Okay, that's my part.
Closed session.
Okay, all right, school board in matters of interest, 17, it's a calendar. Cost, you wanna speak to the calendar?
Sure, so you have, January the 20th, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, school divisions closed. We have budget work sessions coming up on the 22nd and 29th. We have our next school board meeting on February the 5th. We have an early dismissal for students on the 11th, interims distributed on the 11th, parent-teacher conference is on the 11th, that's a big day. Joint Finance Committee. We have a President's Day holiday on the 17th, which we'll probably talk a little bit about later because that is a weather makeup day as well. February the 19th, budget work session. February the 27th, Joint Finance Committee with the Board of Supervisors. So that's a budget calendar that you've seen that has the dates on there. And I believe they've all been confirmed, right, Ms. James? Thank you. Yes, okay.
All right, correspondence,
Yeah, so, one of the things you have here is you have a very nice instructional newsletter. And the Medford League incredible thing if you ever get to go to that. It's usually during the school day. Friendsgiving, I won't go through all of it, but anyway, the instructional newsletter just shows a lot of different things that are going on in our schools that, that's really nice that we've highlighted. And I think a lot of the rest of it is, just some correspondence and letters that have gone back and forth that we've received. So I can answer any questions if you like.
We're gonna move right into the superintendent's report.
Yeah, so I just start off by saying that I did have a chance right before winter break to complete the student meet and greet and thoroughly enjoyed that. Good time and really enjoyed going back to the buildings after doing that and getting to interact with the students in a little different way. Since we have really kind of experienced inclement weather in the last few weeks, I did want to ask Ms. Garrett to come up. We've kind of been talking a little bit about what all of this means in terms of makeup days and maybe some other possible options. And I'm going to let her talk about that for just a minute if she would.
So, we did receive some information from Dr. Coons that there is possibility that if we continue to receive days, we could look at waivers. So, for the school year, you have to have 180 days, or 990 instructional hours. Instructional hours for middle and elementary school are a piece of cake. Instructional hours for the high school, it's a little different. So we just have to do some mathematical computing. We're good now with that, but we don't know what's gonna come up. So what it does say is that we need to make every effort to make up the days. So there is a chance we may see more weather. We never know what the weather apps are saying, but they're telling us some things may be coming. So with that, we just want you to be thinking about, how are ways that we can make up days. And then if we do get to the point that we are not at the 990, we can then consider doing a waiver. We are still in a good place. Right now, I think we're at 1,211 instructional hours. So we're okay now. But we do have to make an effort to make up some days. So being we do have days on the calendar, I think we need to look at considering the days that we had posted to show that we have made some effort to make up days. And then if we've moved to missing more days, we can then document what we have done to make up those days. Yes.
Would that include, Dr. Cox, including the May 27th and 28th day in
So
there?
those are two that you would look at.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I'll be honest with you, we don't change SOLs, we don't change testing. And, school is over. Graduation has occurred. And to add makeup days at the end of the year feels almost like cruel and unusual punishment to both teachers and students. But I understand that in order to get a waiver, we have to use up the days that are on the calendar. Is that what y'all are saying?
Well, it depends on if it would be approved or not. Now, if we are still at our 990 without needing those days, we don't even need to use those days. So we may be able to calculate time.
So you're saying, let's not announce makeup days, is this what you're saying, Dr. Cox? Let's wait and see what the weather does over the next several weeks?
I would
We
not
may
announce
have
all
to-
4 of the
And we may not
days
have to
right
make
now.
up any of the days?
Well, I certainly would announce all 4.
Okay,
I think we need to at least make up one.
I think
February
I
17th.
think probably that day you do need to make up.
Okay.
Right,
And
because
then wait and see on the
Yes,
others.
because it does say, and good faith effort can mean a lot of things.
Right.
But that is probably part of what they mean by good faith effort. So if you did that, then you may be able to look at some other alternatives for the other 3. So I would say that one, probably we should
I think we
announce
should.
that makeup day.
Should announce that as a big.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I know in the past, many of the divisions don't make up days. They don't even have makeup days on their calendar. And I've asked and asked and asked every year, and it turns out they have something called banked time in their calendars.
And we are.
And we're gonna look at that.
We are.
And I can tell you for schools that are not, how, semester-based, that 990 can be made easily.
But even semester-based, we have neighboring counties right around here that are semester-based just like us, and they don't have makeup days on their calendar. And so, and y'all will have to help me understand if the high school is going to school the same number of hours as the middle school and the elementary school, why the numbers?
Because one semester counts as a full course. So if you're doing a verified credit course and you take a class, that whole class is completed in the first semester, just like college. So it's as though you took it over the whole year, but you've completed that CAT class and you start a whole new course the next semester. So you have to look at the hours that they're taking it. It's not spanned over 180 days, it's only spanned over 90. So you're not gonna lose time at the first semester, but we're gonna lose time for those classes the second semester.
I see.
So your danger's gonna be
I see. If
in
they
the
were in a
second
year-long
semester.
class, it wouldn't matter.
Because they've made up that time at the front
I
end.
see it. They
But-
earned it in the first semester. I see.
Right,
I
it's
see.
our second semester
I see.
cohort that's
Okay,
hurt.
I get it.
Banked.
Banked time, yes, I understand it. They banked it, if it were year-long, they would have banked it first semester.
Right, so there you had some leeway.
I get it, I totally
But there's
understand.
not a
it.
whole lot of
It's the
leeway.
second semester that's the issue. I
Right,
see.
so if it had happened in November, we'll be okay.
Right, okay.
But we do have some options.
We do, and that's what we wanted to let you know.
Okay, good.
That we are
Okay.
looking at least those two sets of options.
Okay, good.
As they put the time for a snowy day.
I'm afraid this is gonna be
And
one
then
of the
I
worst
think
January.
two other things, one is that we have calendar committee meeting tomorrow, so we do have that underway.
Good,
And then I think the second thing is we had put something out about report cards not coming out on Monday.
That's right.
They will go out on Friday, so I think given everything this week, we,
Yep, report cards will go out Friday.
so anyway.
good.
Yep, so, I think
And
that's.
calendar surveys should have went out to the
I've
public.
seen those, I've seen those.
Okay, great.
Do we need to vote on that, or is that, or the 17th, or is that just kind of?
It's already in your, it's already.
Okay, so
in
we
your-
don't need to-
Already
Cool.
did it last year,
You actually already,
voted on it last year.
yeah, when you approved the calendar last year, you already,
Just making sure.
yeah. That's all I have.
Okay.
Is that enough?
All right, board member comments, any comments from board members?
I have one,
Yes.
and it's more or less a question in the end. Today is the actual birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. And he had a dream. What can board members do outside of their personal agendas to help our students have a dream, accomplish their dream, and execute what they have learned? When we interact with students, do we forget to ask them, what's your dream? What do you want to be? What else can you do to accomplish your dream? Are we engaging with students enough for them to feel that we are concerned about their dream? Let's have a dream for our students, please. And that's my comment.
I just wanted to piggyback on the meet and greets. I had an opportunity to go to the elementary, middle, and high school. And you know, that was a really great experience. I saw, kids, that afternoon that we had the ribbon cutting was the day we'd been to elementary school, and as I was walking up the hill, this little girl ran up to me, who I'd seen in the classroom, and went, I saw you, I know you. And I understand that, you know, kids came home and said, you won't believe who I met today, and Mom says, who? The superintendent, and he gave me a pencil, and I just think that I wanna thank you, Dr. Cox, for going into our classrooms, getting to know our teachers, getting to know our kids. I think it is making a huge difference in the culture of our schools, and so I wanna thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very quick plug, since we are still out of school on the 20th, as far as I know, MLK Day. If you're looking for something to do, come on by Moton, MLK Day, free family workshop, every year, you know, free snacks, free art supplies and activities, focusing on encouraging and curating and eventually executing, hopefully, those dreams Elzora has so eloquently referred to. So it is free fee, so you don't gotta pay nothing, 10:30 to noon 30.
10:30.
12:30, 10:30 to 12:30, on the 20th, at Moton, free, open to the public, so come on through.
I was gonna do that, say that too.
Same as
Plug in
plug.
for the LCBA.
Moton and LCBA, yep.
Cause y'all will be there too?
Yes.
Okay.
You make these wonderful headbands that say
Oh, yeah.
dreamer.
Yeah.
So, we
What
are
time is
dreamers.
yours?
Same thing, 10:30.
10:30.
Is that that they're doing it the
It's a collaborative, it's a
It's
co-sponsor.
collaborative, yeah, we do it
Okay.
at Moden, we work with, we collaborate on that, yeah. All right, we have to go back into closed session because we have to take care of
few things?
a couple of things. So, I need a motion to go back into closed
Move we
session.
go back in closed session?
Second.
What were the two?
We have to do B on the closed session, continue.
Mrs. Kimbrough,
Yes.
Mrs. Carson,
Uh-huh.
Dr. Corbett,
Yes.
Mr. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
And I need a motion
To adjourn?
that for the,
Is there anything I need to know about the action item?
Yes, we're getting ready to do that. I move that we, accept the superintendent's, employee personnel report as presented.
Second.
second? All in favor? That's all.
Everybody? Okay.
And,
B.
Steve, I need one for B.
Motion to approve the religious exemption for student B.
Second.
Alright.
Second.
Townsend and then Tackett, okay.
All in favor?
Alright, okay.
Alright.
Motion to adjourn.
Now need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second. Alright. All in favor?
Okay.
Thank you guys for your work tonight.
So,